They think it has to be X number of minutes. It doesn't. If you find something powerful that will get you where you need to be in less than 2 minutes or even a minute, if
Mhm.
you are truly not spinning in here and you are here, that can be all you need.
The circle of life, and it
Hi, everyone.
moves
Elle
us
Ballard is
all.
here today on the Empowered Global Women in Business podcast. This is a special edition of bonus podcast from our Papa Dalooza event and some of our featured speakers. And today it's my pleasure to introduce you to Vivianne Winters Israel. Hi, Vivianne.
Hi, Elle. Nice to meet you.
So great to have you. Nice to meet you. Before we jump on, Vivianne helps overworked teachers, entrepreneurs, caregivers, and those struggling with day-to-day workload and responsibilities to give themselves permission to practice self-care, to increase their energy, mental bandwidths, and take the best care of their loved ones, and charges by taking the true best care of themselves. I love what you do.
Thank you.
How did you start this work?
I have had several crises in my life without any self-care tools and
Mhm,
with, once I discovered exactly what these were.
mhm,
And the difference without and with, you don't want to experience without. You
mhm,
can possibly avoid it. But I find in our jobs for teachers, particularly entrepreneurs as well, starting if especially if they're starting a new business. But once your business grows or you get to the point where you need to expand, we don't take care of ourselves. We're putting everything into our family or our students or our business. We have a tendency that if we even think about taking care of ourselves, that is selfish. To me, it's important for folks to understand the difference between what I've come to call true self-care, because many people, when they hear self-care, they think me time, and me
mhm.
time seems selfish to them. Now, some people will take me time, and there's nothing wrong with me time. Me time is fabulous.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking about true self-care tools, I'm talking about things that elevate your daily living experience. And there are some out there that even help you move with ease, more
Mhm.
ease, not that they're ever easy, but with a whole different level of ease through a life crisis. And I'm
Mm,
living proof of the difference, and that you can do way more than you thought you could in the moments of it, on the journey through it, and the little that come on after that. Sorry, that was off screen. Taking true care of yourself,
yeah.
giving yourself permission, understanding that giving yourself permission to take true care of yourself is the genesis of taking the best possible care of your loved ones, your
Mhm.
students, your brand new or your emerging or your burgeoning business
Yeah.
that will, because this true self-care does increase your energy, mental and physical, because there's more access to the physical if your mental's not frying your biscuits trying to burn out some answer.
Mhm,
Increases your mental bandwidth.
mhm.
It just is the true root cause of having more joy and ease, kindness, less destruction in your life.
Yes, 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 to all of that. Yes, yes, definitely. So important. And it's just so interesting. While it's so important, it is also hard to
Yes.
to do that for so many, to incorporate it. Why is that? Why is so hard for
Well, I wonder, and I don't know this for a fact, this is just my speculation. I wonder if they will even call it self-care, because they might think, well, taking time, maybe people say mindfulness, and then often people's minds goes automatically to meditation, which many people don't understand.
Mm,
And yeah, in
mm.
the beginning, I absolutely was me
I
too.
do that because I don't understand it. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you read about it and clear your mind. Well, we're honestly, as humans, not capable of clearing our mind. So where that came from, I don't know. But talk about false advertising. That's just terrible.
Yeah.
And it can be difficult to do. And people don't know if they're doing it right. And
Mhm.
they think, well, they're supposed to sit in a certain way. And you really don't have to sit in a certain way. It can be fine to do that, but you don't have to. And they think it has to be X number of minutes. It doesn't. If you find something powerful that will get you where you need to be in less than 2 minutes or even a minute, if
Mhm.
you are truly not spinning in here and you are here, that can be all you need. It
Yeah.
truly can be all you need. So it saddens me that people's meditations, almost like when you're going into school and they talk about grammar, that, oh God, I've already heard about that. I don't want to hear about that again. So you just turn your mind off. They say meditation, okay, can't do that. So then they don't do anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there are other, I have discovered, I have come across
Uh-huh.
are now 6 of my favorite powerful healthcare tools, self-care tools. Well, they are healthcare tools as well. Meditation is in there, and there's numbers of meditation that I do still use. I started with guided ones after just the breathing, but there are 2 of them that take less than 2 minutes to do
Yeah.
once. So there's a couple of others that they take longer, but to do each day, 30 minutes, 60 minutes collectively. But any self-care tool that you practice regularly will become part of your operating system. And some of those, a couple of in particular, when the proverbial poo hits the fan and you are drop kicked into some kind of crisis or finally come to realize that you are in a crisis, it just shows up. You don't have to call it up. You don't have to sit and do anything, think anything. It just shows up. And that's what happened for me when I got my metastatic breast cancer diagnosis while work over the phone with no preparatory comment whatsoever. Just your biopsy results show this. We need you to schedule an appointment with the doctor. If I'd been driving a truck, I'd gone off the road. And it was such a different experience to when I, 11 years earlier, had a very severe multiple points along my spine injury. Because my mental, emotional response to that was beyond unhealthy. It was physically destructive. I was raising my daughter by myself, and what my job was very physically demanding. And I was got in this little mental capsule. If I can't get back to my physically demanding job, then with all the certifications and things I have, it'll be less pain. I can't afford that. I won't be able to take care of my daughter. No possibility. I was not seeing anything outside this little mind capsule. And
Yeah.
normally my life is always possibility. So
Yeah.
you can have these when you're drop kicked into something, your mind goes in 20,000 different directions, and it's like every appendage you have is trying to run away from you somewhere, and you can't do anything. And
Mhm.
then go to that cancer diagnosis, and I was scared.
Yeah.
And how I was moving through in the beginning was a little, jooky until I got home, but I was moving. I was scared, but it was not a paralyzing fear. I was able to be moving forward. And then by the next day, I'm moving forward more. And within a couple of weeks, I felt like I had some things going together. It was still a discovery of ick, and ick, but I was doing it from an incredibly different space than that which I was doing it from with the back injury. The difference is it's just difference. There's no true comparison. It was very polar experience. Would never want to go through a crisis if I had the choice without a tool ever again. So basically, the time is now to explore some, find one that resonates with you. You can find more than one, but start with one that resonates with you and practice it regularly. It's not the knowing that it's there and trying to do it when you think you need it. It's the practice of it regularly so that it becomes second nature to you. And when the does hit the fan, you can move through things more easily. And the bonus is that doing that also elevates your everyday life experience. So win-win-win.
Win-win. I love that. It becomes a habit for preventative, right? Preventative.
Exactly. It's exactly because you don't know. I mean, our entire species was dropped into a crisis just a few years ago,
Yeah.
out of the blue,
Yeah.
and we are still swarming to get out of that. So you don't know when it's going to happen. So we have all had that. As a species, we've now all had that experience. The poo hit the fan, and here we are.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we did not manage it well. And we have all this technology and things available to us that they didn't have 94, 97 years ago with the last big epidemic, now passing on the little avian one. Yet we actually didn't handle that as well as that one. So that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I love that. It's important to really integrate that, right? And I think it changes, and I can totally relate. I built in, and I talk about that a lot actually, in terms of vitality in my business too. So I love that you do that work because I think it's just so important to incorporate those practices that you do. And I know, Vivianne, you have some resources, some information that we will be sharing, whether you
Oh,
watch on video. We'll be sharing some links for Vivianne on our video, or if you listen to our podcast, we'll be posting it there as well. We are on the Empowered Global Women in Business podcast. We can build our own schedules, right? And the and the daily routines and the daily habits for ourselves, right? How has that been for you to be able to build this business on your own terms for yourself?
difference in now as opposed to when I'd done this many years ago is understanding
Mhm.
that you are captain of your time, you are captain of your business. You need to not only manage the time of your business, you need to manage your time in your business. You need to manage your time in you so that you're capable of doing your business. We
Yeah.
have a tendency as humans, I think men have a worse tendency or a larger tendency of this than we do, but I find entrepreneurial women very much have this, that we think we can get more done in a certain period of time than we can. And then we will come across things that are unexpected, because if you're starting a business, there are things that are going to be expected. It's a new experience. And then how much time you thought you had was already actually less than you had. And now this is other thing. And this is the genesis of it becoming an overwhelming
Yeah.
issue. And that I think is a struggle that so many new business folks have. But they feel if they need to ask for some help on something
Mhm.
or investigate the potential of resources for something that's other than the directly to their business and directly productive of the business, that's just going to have to wait till later. But you have to take care of yourself to be able to take care of your business. And it
So
takes a while to get to these points. And even when we look at time blocking, which I love time blocking, say, well, I'm going to take this long on this and this long on this. And it may not always come out exactly that way, but at least you're framing your time instead of seat of your pants on everything. But it takes us a while to understand even time blocking that, oh, well, phew, I did not get that complete in that time. I really couldn't have gotten that complete in that time. So we need to retool our time block maker so that
yeah,
we allow the appropriate time and build in little spoofs in between, like on the, I believe it's the Pomo, that, take a little 20-minute space or at
yeah,
least a 5 to 10 minute space between this and that. And often we will say, oh, yeah, so if that runs over a little bit, no, you need to have a little piece of time for yourself too, so that you are fresh and well thinking, clear thinking, creatively thinking to move your business forward.
yes, definitely. I so agree. It's so important. These little breaks, even though they seem little
Yeah.
in during the day, they add up, right? And
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, my goal is to stand up at the end of every hour. It's my goal, not the
I hear
today.
you. I hear you. Yep. I hear
That's
you.
but that's my goal. And the more I do it, yeah, the more refreshed I am. And yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, so important to remember that. And again, it's easy and we know it, but do we do it? No. So
Yeah.
it's a great
Some
reminder.
sometimes if it's too easy, we can think it's not important.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, standing up every hour, it's not, I can get into the same deal. Oh, I got to get through this. I got to get through this thing. I'll stand up the next hour.
yeah,
Sometimes, and it has to do with investment. They talk about if you don't put some skin in the game, with usually the business thing or the money like that. But we need to put time skin in the game. Just because something can only take a minute or two
yeah.
doesn't mean it isn't valuable. And I think there's some little old thing in our brain that says, oh yeah, I can do without that.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that all the time.
I just did
But if
that.
you
It's okay.
you did do it regularly, because we talk about standing up every hour, and that's in my primary operating system, but I do it still sometimes. Oh, and I have to finish this. I can do without that one. And then every other hour, I will do one of my things that takes, less than a couple of minutes. But sometimes I will still cheat on that. But if it is in your blocking, if you time block your little space in there, and just each at the end of the day, okay, now what did I do with those little space? Examine. At the end of the day, we will automatically look at what we did productively wise. I
Yeah.
didn't say that correctly. It's not even a word, but I think you know what I mean. We will always look at those, but we don't tend to examine those little spaces of time that we may say we're going to give ourselves and that we cheat ourselves out of. If
Mm.
we would also examine how we utilize those little pieces of time, if we measure it, we can improve it. Oh, yeah, I said I was going to shoot. I didn't do like 6 or 7 of those 10 or 14 things I should have done that day. Those little things. Oh, but they're little things. The little things add up. If you look at how you manage those little pieces of time at the end of the day and
Mm.
start improving on that piece, other things will start looking better.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love that. Thank you so much for the reminders, and thank you so much for being on our podcast today, Vivian. And again, links and on information on how to connect with Vivian and her work. As a finishing thought, is there anything else you want to say as we close this conversation today?
I would say give yourself the gift of putting yourself first so that everything else comes out better.
Yeah.
And that list that I'll send you, that's not work you need from me. That's to direct to the sources of brilliant people that came up with these things that I came across and use in my life. And they've made such a difference. It's important to share.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank
Thank
you,
you. My pleasure to be with you.
Vivian. Bye bye.